guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Martin SN0034G. I received this watch for free from the Martin official store on AliExpress. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. That's not going to sway my review one way or the other. And if by the end of this review you find yourself wanting to pick one of these up, and I highly suggest you do because it's actually really nice, use the link down below. That is an affiliate link. You guys don't pay any extra, but this channel will benefit from the small commission earned, and I really appreciate it. The current retail price for this watch is $133 US, and that's on the leather strap, and $166 US on the steel bracelet. And that's before any discounts or sales or coupons. There's currently a sale going on right now, so you can save yourself a decent amount of change. This watch is only available in black currently, and it's actually only available with the St. Martin branding. Usually St. Martin offers these in sterile dials. I do think this would actually look pretty good in a sterile dial, so St. Martin, if you are watching, I think you need to offer that. Yeah, I don't mind the branding, but I think sterile would actually be pretty good on this one. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel, has a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown, screw-down case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance. It's powered by the Miyota 8215 automatic movement. It comes on a leather strap, or like I mentioned earlier, it is also offered on a stainless steel bracelet. So if you guys are looking for a no-nonsense field or Flieger style watch, St. Martin has plenty of them to choose from. And they're actually pretty cheap too. So, but are they any good? I say we find out. But before we do a quick wrist check today, wearing my Seastern, and yeah, this thing is great. I'll leave the link for the review right up in the corner. All right, let's get the dimensions out of the way. We got a case diameter of 37 millimeters, a thickness of 11.2, 20 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 45.4, and on the supplied leather strap, weighs about 65 grams. So it's really good size, that 37 millimeters by 45. I think it's going to fit a lot of wrists, and you can see a decent little slope down to the lugs as well. It's got a pretty tall case back, which is a little bit unusual. The Miyota is known to be a thinner movement, so I'm not sure why they felt the need they had to drop that down so far, but that's how it is. So it does sit off the wrist nicely. This edge here, it is a little sharp, but it doesn't ever touch your wrist, so it's not a big deal. So, but yeah, I do like the way that this thing wears and the way this thing looks. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist, and I think it looks great. Yeah, I think it looks really, really good. Very tooly vibe to it. A little bit of turn down to the lugs, fully brushed case, and it looks really good. Very comfortable, sits nicely on the wrist. I've got no issues with it. Maybe a little bit small for my wrist, but I know I'm on the larger side of wrists, so yeah, this should wear really good on most people. And hopping out in some direct sunlight, I've got no issues reading this thing. I mean, it gets a little bit washed out, but not too bad. There is some air coating on it. But yeah, it's just the black against the white. It's super legible. I've got no problems with it. The leather strap, comfortable as well. And yeah, what do you guys think about that? I think that looks pretty good. But I think we can improve. Let's go throw it on some straps. And here we are on the camel color suede strap, link down below. And I think that looks great. I'm just a sucker for these field watches on this strap. I love it. Maybe you guys are sick of it, but I'm definitely not. And here we are on a Riche canvas strap, and I think that looks awesome. And this army green color looks really, really cool. I'm going to show you guys yeah, right there at the case. This strap is hitting the case. The last strap was also hitting the case, so it's a tight fit for straps that are a little on the thicker side. I wouldn't consider this a thick strap, and it's still hitting, so just something to be aware of. It's going to be a tight fit for you. And another really tight fit, but another awesome green strap on this thing. Pearl-on straps linked down below. These straps are awesome. I think they look great, and I think this combo looks really good, even though it's a little bit tight. I mean it's tight. It's really tight. And lastly, here we are on a ribbed nylon strap with 2 layers underneath there. Dark brown. I think it looks great. Very comfortable, and again, a super tight fit. I was barely able to squeeze it in between the spring bars and the case. And this is not a thick NATO, so yeah, that's what it is. It is what it is. Thankfully, I was able to get straps on this thing, but it's definitely a tight fit. So if you got some thicker straps, just be warned. All right, let's go back inside though. Let's get back to this review. Yeah, let's talk about the case finishing on this. And case finishing it's really good. You know, St. Martin is really known for their case finishing. This is no exception. It's very nice. On the tops of the lugs, you have a circular brushing, as you can see there. Again, really nicely done. The bezel itself is circular brushed. Nicely done. I've got no issues with it. It's a pretty fine brushing on that bottom edge there. It almost looks like it's polished, but it's not. It's definitely brushed there. But yeah, really nicely done. You got nice satin brushing horizontally across the lugs there. Flipping it over to the other side here, you got a nice St. Martin hex crown there, signed nicely. Looks really good, big and grippy. It's a great crown. Got no issues with that. Yeah, the finishing is really good. Nice sharp transitions. I mean, it just looks good. I'm not really sure what else to say. In between the lugs here, you do have a vertical brushing, and again, that's nicely done. So yeah, no real issues with the case finishing, which I didn't really expect to have any. Flipping it over to the case back here, sterile case back, circular brushing, simple notches to get a tool in there. Very simple, about, again, what I expected for this watch. Yeah, no real complaints. The case back itself, it's been fine, comfortable. Like I mentioned earlier, this bottom edge here of the case, it's pretty sharp, but it just never touches the wrist, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, it does look really good. Circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs. Overall, I'm happy with the case finishing. I think it's great. Now let's talk about the crystal on this. Do a quick test for sapphire. No question about it. Sapphire crystal. And it's just a simple flat sapphire crystal. It barely sits above the bezel, as you can see there. Pretty nicely done. You can see it's got a little bit of a blue tinge to it. It's not a heavy coating of anti-reflective, but it is there, and it does keep the dial nice and legible. I've got no problems with it. I think it looks good. And yeah, no big negatives on there. Yeah, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. And the dial is done really nice. It's a matte black dial. There's no gloss to it. There's no sunburst. Just a simple matte black dial. White printing on it. Everything looks nice and clean. It's BGW9 Lume. We'll get to the Lume shot in just a second. But it looks good. I've got no problems with it. The handset on this, really cool. Really nice syringe and cathedral style hands. Yeah, they're great. You got no issues with that. I think they look really good. They're nice and clean. There's no fluff on them. And at least not without getting under macro. You can't see any dust. It looks good. You've got your simple St. Martin text there, automatic. So the dial layout on this is pretty unusual. It's kind of like an Air King, right? So 12, 3, 6, and 9 is just your hours, and then the triangle at 12, obviously. Then all the other hours are marked with the minutes. So it's unusual. It's a different balance. Yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, it's kind of a cool setup, unusual for sure. But I actually do like it. I think it looks really clean, and it's just something a little bit different. And I'm pretty happy with it. The other thing that I'm mostly happy with is the Lume. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot right now. And like I mentioned, it is BGW9, so it's got that nice ice blue color to it. The 12, 3, 6, and 9 and the hands, they hang on really good. It's the other indices and the minute markings, they fade pretty quickly, so those aren't the best. But yeah, other than that, though, the Lume is pretty decent. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. And the movement is the Miyota 8215. Not my favorite movement. Here's how mine's been running, and it's actually running really good. So I don't know if they're regulating or not, but I mean, you can't complain with the accuracy on this thing. It's been great as far as that goes. But the Miyota 8215, it's a really old movement. It's a workhorse movement, but it's just not my favorite movement. So the movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown, signed again. Nice big grippy crown, really nice screw out action, positive pop out. The thing that I don't like about this one, it's a ghost date, which is not a big deal. You know, I've had that in many watches before. It doesn't bother me. But you pull it out to the third position, it does not hack. This 8215, it's kind of been revised, so some of them do hack, some of them don't hack. It's kind of a grab bag, so I'm not sure why this one's not hacking, but I'm just not a fan of it. The winding, it's fine. The crown action in general is fine on this thing. But, you know, it's the 8215. It was really popular like 10 years ago. It was the movement 10 years ago. And it really hasn't changed since then. So no hacking. It does hand wind. It's got a unidirectional winding rotor, so it only winds the movement in one direction. If it gets going the other way, You can hear it and you can feel it on wrist. I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much now, especially on this one. It seems to be pretty quiet. So yeah, it's just, I would have definitely preferred the NH35 is what I'm saying. The Miyota is not a bad movement at all. It's going to be accurate. It's going to be reliable. It's just not the NH35. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, so let's talk about the leather strap on this thing. And the leather strap it's pretty good. It's definitely not excellent, but it definitely is one you're going to want to keep in the collection. It's just dark brown. It looks great. It's kind of got a cream stitch to it. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18 millimeters. It's got quick release spring bars. It's broken in nicely. It smells like leather, so it's not plastic or anything like that. I think it looks pretty good. I think it suits this style of watch pretty good. One thing you'll notice, I don't know if you can tell or not, but this thing actually has curved spring bars. So that's a first for me. I mentioned in the strap show portion of the review that it was a pretty tight fit, right? Well, there you go. That's San Martin confirming my suspicions. It is using curved spring bars to give a little bit of a clearance there. If you're using normal straight spring bars, it's going to be a pretty tight fit. I was able to get all of my straps on there. There was just some tight fitting ones, but back to the strap. It's a decent strap, like I mentioned. You got one floating keeper, one stationary keeper. All the stitching seems to be done pretty nice. I've got no issues with it at all. The hardware on it is excellent, nice and solid. San Martin sign there. Looks good. Nicely finished. Yeah, I got no problems with the buckle. It's not my favorite strap, but it's definitely one that you're going to want to keep around because it's actually pretty good. So there you go, guys. That is the San Martin SN0034G. It's a great little field watch, or Flieger watch. I'm pretty happy with it. I like the matte dial, looks great. I think the unusual layout of it, that Air King style layout, really it gives it an interesting look. I love the handset on it. Really nicely done on the hands. The strap is good. The movement, it's accurate enough. And overall, I think it's a nice little package, and you can pick them up for pretty cheap right now. So yeah, and like I mentioned, if you are interested in the metal bracelet, it does come on a metal bracelet. It's your typical San Martin metal bracelet, which is really good. Solid links, solid end links, female links, good clasp. Check out my San Martin SN033. I will leave that up here. I'm assuming it's the same exact bracelet as that. So, and it's a good one. It's a good one. So it's definitely, if you want this on the bracelet, it's definitely worth picking up on the bracelet. I think that's about it for me though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.